يا لغتي عربية حسبي بأنك منطقي وبياني عربية قلبي.
They say that same
But
natives?
if you use the measure of inside nature itself,
How can you measure? How can you measure, for example,
use
love,
nature,
trust,
you can measure,
dishonesty?
I told you.
How will you measure
You
that?
can measure what creates discontent and measure what.
So you actually got some instrument. Wait a minute.
Humans, for humans, what lions do is wrong. For
Brother, one second.
If a snake tried to do what lions do, snakes would die out.
No,
If a
let's
rabbit
not
tried to do
compare.
what snakes do,
Let's not compare the
rabbits would
human.
die out. So we've all got.
Wait.
Yes, we've
Let's
all
not
got
compare
it from
humans
nature.
and animals here.
So what rabbits do in a natural way is from nature, and that enables them to survive.
Yeah. Anyway,
What
we are not
snakes
comparing
do-
humans and animals. We are comparing humans and humans. This gentleman here is saying he has actually got how to measure emotions, how to measure trust, how to measure love, how to measure hatred for someone. And he actually, how is it that the CIA is not using this?
So, like
for
I was-
example, they can go to an airport
They do.
and find out this guy's got a lot of hatred.
do
Wait.
all the laws. All
Bro,
the
I'm
laws.
making my point. Can I finish without interrupting? Good.
thought you asked me
How
first.
can the CIA and the FBI, if they got the technology, not basically instill these devices at the airports and catch out those terrorists who come to this country or another country
they're
to
failing.
blow up people? Why are they failing time and time again to catch
Well,
this
I
terror?
didn't
Wait,
say it
don't
worked-
need to,
I
I haven't
didn't say it
finished yet.
worked on that level, did
Glenn,
I?
I haven't finished yet. If this is so sophisticated, and if this is what this gentleman is trying to say, that there is actually chemicals within our body, and it has been proven that they actually identify accurately the emotions we feel, then why aren't people using those instruments today? So far, we have not got any such device, and I think what you're just saying is gobbledygook.
Well, I didn't say that I didn't say that the things that you referred to could be measured in that way.
So in what way is it measured?
And they cannot.
In what way is it measured?
But
then?
I did say that you can measure good and bad behaviour.
How?
Good behaviour are things that rely on consent of other people.
And what if they are very good liars?
Let me finish.
What if they're very good liars?
Exactly.
Exactly.
But we're not talking about them changing their mind and lying later on. We're talking about the actual thing that they're saying. So the purpose behind and the thing that they do, if that is against other people and other people don't consent to it, you're going to cause big problems.
And if they do?
But if they do consent to it, then everyone's happy.
Oh, really?
So if everyone's happy, that's a moral thing to do.
Let me give you an example.
If no one's happy, it's an immoral thing to do.
Good point.
So you can gauge good and bad by the quantity of consent or lack of consent.
You've got him now, yeah?
And then you can gauge how much discontent it's going to create in society. Because discontent, I'll finish. Discontent creates wars. Wars are not stable evolution.
We're going too far now. Let's stick to the point we're
with
talking about.
wars and people stealing off.
You know something? You're saying consent, as long as it's consensual.
You mean went too far for you?
No, as long as
But
they
you
have
can
consent.
you can see what instability does in society. It
Glenn,
ruins the whole,
wait a minute.
it
Actually,
ruins the whole
you have
population.
actually, you know what you have done there?
Which is
You have
against
actually proved
evolution.
something against your own self. I'll tell you how. Okay, imagine there are two adults and they both consent to have sex with each other. Yes, I'm talking about incest. They do not hurt anyone, and they use contraception to do it. Would you wait? They use contraception, so there is no procreation involved. Now let me ask you this question: do you agree with incest? Would you agree with a mother sleeping with his son, or a father sleeping with his daughter?
Like I said, you use nature. You asked me where I get my morals.
You said consent only. You didn't mention nature.
Well, correct, but it's
Now you're
but it's
backtracking,
not as
seems
black and
like.
white as you're saying.
Oh.
I'm not backtracking. I'm just saying, that, like with the word testimony, it can have 5 or 6 different facets to it.
Right.
Unfortunately, with this word consent, it has as well.
Why didn't you mention that?
But I did.
It's every time I correct you, you try to
friend,
somehow
you
backtrack
know I
into
did,
it.
But you're backtracking. I started by saying you use nature.
No, you said
So let me
consent
explain
very clearly.
why.
As long as you don't hurt anyone, and you both have consent, and you're not hurting anyone, then by nature it's fine. That's what you
I
said.
boiled it down to consent for simplicity, but I started by saying you use nature.
Okay, so
And nature
tell me why is
tells-
incest wrong according to you,
because-
based on your principle?
Because
why is it wrong?
According to me,
Yeah.
because according to nature,
Nature?
nature shows you that a son having sex with a mother leads to crippled.
No, but remember I told you they don't have to have procreation.
Kids. Yeah,
They use contraception.
But nature has shown that it's wrong.
But
nature doesn't.
do you not understand?
Kids.
Their idea is just for pleasure, not to procreate.
I do understand.
Would you agree up to that level?
No.
Why not?
But what you're saying is I can't disagree. You're
No,
telling
no.
me I can't disagree.
I'm saying you can
What I'm
disagree,
doing is-
but are you then not going
What
against
I'm
your
doing
principle?
is showing you that nature shows why it's wrong. Therefore, whether you use a condom or not, it'd still be wrong. because it's there in nature. Just
Why
like,
is it wrong?
Just like I said with
Based on your principle, why is it wrong?
Father and son. Father and son.
Yeah.
What about father
Glenn,
and son?
based on your
Father and son,
principle,
gay,
why is it wrong?
both gay.
If there is no intent of procreation, why is it wrong? Because your principle was very clear. As long as you don't hurt anyone, as long as two adults have give consent to each other, then it should be okay. But now all of a sudden it's not okay.
Well, let me ask you. Let's say that the world changed quite quickly,
Yeah.
and sons were having sex with their mothers.
Would you agree then?
No.
Why?
Because I said in nature it shows you it's wrong. We can get
I
around
told you there's
it.
no intent of
We can
procreation.
get around it with condoms, but it shows you can see that.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Father and son, can they have sex with each other?
No, hold on, I was asking.
They can't have babies, can they?
I was asking you a question.
Now go on.
I was trying to ask you a question, which was.
No, but you're not answering the
let's
question.
Say more and more people did, with using condoms, have sex with their parents, right? So that they're not producing kids that will have deficiencies that we know of.
Which
right?
is?
Oh, they cripple.
They're wearing condoms, remember?
No, I'm saying.
You're going all over the place, aren't you?
I
You haven't thought it through.
No, I said. So what your game is, you interrupt, and I'm going to.
You look very nervous all of a sudden.
I was saying, let's say this doesn't happen. Let's say they do use condoms and it doesn't.
Glenn, I'm not trying to corner you. I'm just
I
saying,
said to you,
based on your
you
principle,
interrupted
you're
again.
completely wrong.
I said, let's just suggest,
Yeah.
overnight, the whole world started having
father and
sex.
son.
Wait, let him finish his point. Go on.
Let's say they started having sex with their mothers,
Yeah.
right? Then what actual negative effect does that cause in society from you?
No, I already see it as wrong. I don't
No,
need.
no,
Wait.
I'm-
I don't need.
Yeah, but I'm
I don't
asking
need
you
the.
why.
I don't. Wait. Your principle.
I can show
Wait.
you-
You know what you're doing now? Instead of answering the question, you're putting the question back to me. I already denounced
putting
it.
it back.
Look, regardless of crippled children, regardless of what happens, to me, incest is wrong. Period. Based on my religion, based on my faith. But you somehow devise this principle that as long as you don't hurt each other, you do not hurt anyone, and you have a consenting adult saying that is okay, then what would the problem if a father and a son had sex with each other?
Same thing, that nature's showing us that
They don't get babies,
offspring-
father and son.
Don't tell him. Let him realize that.
Father having, they don't, but I don't care.
So why is it wrong then?
What I would do is,
Why is it wrong? Based on your principle, why is it wrong?
Maybe for him could be wrong, but for the
I'm trying to
doing it
explain to
might
you,
be
you
right.
keep interrupting me. Right?
No, please do, go on.
Others, he doesn't have an authority.
Father-
He doesn't have a father.
Explain, brother, stop.
My authority, my authority,
He doesn't
Yeah.
want to intervene into somebody's choice.
my authority is to use nature.
Yeah.
And just in the same way as in religions, that you've got verses that act as morality of how to behave, some people bend and twist that, and you can, because they're written in texts, and those words can mean various things.
Answer the question based on your principle.
So-
Don't bring it back to religion.
So you, well,
I want you to answer based on your principle.
thing
Why
is,
is it
what-
wrong
what you're
for a
doing-
father and a son to sleep with each
what
other
you're doing
with consent?
what you're doing is I'm giving you an answer to.
No, you're going back to the religion.
It's a natural thing to do.
You're going back to
I'm
explaining
not- I'm
the
going-
religion.
I'm going back to me. I was saying that I would use nature as my gauge. But just in the same way as in religion, that is the gauge can be used in various different
Sorry, when you
ways.
say nature means what?
Within the couple.
Yeah. When you say nature means what? Do you know there are? Do you know in? Yeah. Do you know in nature there are animals who sleep with their sisters, the siblings?
yes.
Yeah. The pigs, for example.
Yes, but
Yes,
I'm not talking.
but that is nature.
I'm not talking about.
So what then?
Humans apply pig nature. We've all got different. We've all got different morality because biology has instilled that. I can feel you're going to interrupt me in 3 seconds flat. Every different
So
species,
insecurity.
every different species has their own biological morality, right? The chemicals that they have will either lead to them continuing or they will lead to them dying out.
There's no evidence for that.
So the fact that a pig is a different species to a human, what pigs do, I would not use that as something to say that's okay for humans to do.
So what nature are you talking about?
Well, I should have been more specific. It's
Exactly, you
human
should
nature.
have. Okay, human nature. So tell me what would be the problem
But like I
if
said,
a man
the
and a
word-
son sleep with each
like
other?
I said, the word testimony can be slippery. Can mean
Glenn,
different
Glenn,
things.
I'm asking you for the 4th time. What would be the problem, based on your principle,
son
even
and
from
father.
nature, for a father and a son to
The
sleep with each
same
other?
thing. Nature has shown us that the
What would
mother
be the
and a
problem?
father, therefore siblings having sex with parents, is wrong.
Why?
Because it leads to kids that have massive.
They don't have kids, father and son.
I know, and neither do gays. But the mother and the son shows that a mother.
Oh,
and
so
a son
are you
have-
against the gays as well?
They can still
Are you against the homosexuals?
No, not at all.
You're not?
No.
Okay, so what is the problem with a son and a father then?
If he saw you wrong,
Because nature's told us that siblings having sex with their
But
parents.
they don't. Is what?
Is going to cause problems for those kids.
Like in the case of the father and the son, what problem would you
No,
envisage?
in the case of the mother and the
No, why you go to the mother? I'm asking about the father and the son.
The reason I'm doing that,
You're trying to evade that because
I'm
you know it
not-
doesn't fit in your box.
I am not evading it. I am
You
saying
are evading it.
what I'm doing, but I'm not evading it.
I asked you like 5 times
You
the same
keep
question.
interrupting me.
No, I gave you chance to answer.
No wonder I can't.
Every time I gave you chance, you go on to something else.
The reason being is because it's a mother and a because it's a
Father and son.
You see, you interrupted.
Yeah, because you're going back to the mother.
I know you
Stick
want
to the example I gave you. Father and son. What is the problem?
because it's father and son.
Yes, what's the problem?
Nature doesn't specify mother and son. It's just showing you.
Going
that
back to
siblings-
mother and son.
Okay, let me explain.
You know, the reason you cannot stick to the
can't have
example.
a-
Say something.
You can't have a debate with someone and say all the words that you've got in your defence.
Can I ask
You can't
Glenn,
use
why are you
your
evading the
vocabulary.
question? Why are you evading the question? No, can you have patience? No, you can't ask yet. No, you can't. You have to wait. What I'm saying is this: father and son. Can you stick to that? Can you focus on that example?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it wrong?
Because mother and son.
They go again, mother and son.
Yeah.
Stick to the father and son.
I'm not going to debate using only the words that you want me to
Because
use.
it goes against you. It goes against your principle.
No.
That's why you're afraid to answer that. You're consistently evading that.
In the same way that mother and son isn't specific, I agree. In the same way that mother and son is not specific, that father and son shouldn't do it. It's not specific. I absolutely agree.
Why are you evading
And
the question?
If you just asked me that question, I would have agreed with
Glenn,
you.
why are you evading the
But
question?
the point is this.
Why are you evading the
Mother
question?
and son offer a gauge of what not to do for parents. Just as in religion, you'll have something that says don't do this, and people do it in different ways.
Yeah.
I would say that mother and son means father and son as well.
Why? In the case of mother and son, there is a chance of procreation. But in the case of the father, what is your contention?
Well, it's not because it's not they're going to produce bad or malforming kids.
So what is the problem then?
But it shows the action of doing it in mother and son is wrong.
The mother and son, I understand. In father and son, why is it wrong?
Well, mother and son, father, mother's the same.
You know,
thing.
father and mother are not the same person.
They're different people. But
Yes.
The point is,
So, and the son, wait a minute, the son and the father,
Biologically inconsequential whether a father and son sleep together. It makes no difference
we've already been
it
biologically.
does. Because his principle was this. If
But
two
when I-
consenting adults have,
But when I said
do not
something
hurt
like
anyone,
that,
it's okay.
When I said that to him, he told me I've got to talk about the other thing.
You have to.
Listen,
You have to.
culturally unacceptable in just about every
both
culture in the world.
Yeah.
But biologically,
Consensus about it.
it's inconsequential. The difference being that
But
a
you
female
avoided
and
the
a
question.
male of
I'm
the
not-
same genetic
I don't
line
think
sleeping
I'm-
together
Yeah.
is biologically
I don't think I'm
catastrophic.
avoiding
Why?
the question. I
Because
might not be saying the actual
genes
things that
don't
you'd like
get
me to
mixed.
say.
What if they don't? If there's no intent of
What I'm
procreation?
saying is, you've got various things about.
What if they use
For example,
contraception?
In Islam, there's a
Then is it okay?
about how
Then it's
much
just
or what the
culturally
woman should
wrong.
cover.
It's wrong.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, true or not?
Okay.
It's not specific.
The culture is based on
I
what?
answer your
Yes or no?
question and you move the
So just as
goalpost.
No, I didn't. It's the same.
about mother and son.
Okay, Glenn, look.
Neither is it specific
Glenn,
about certain.
I'm saying there's no intent even between mother and son.
It's not because look at.
unnatural thing to do.
It is wrong. Do you agree?
You can't use your own.
My friend, do you agree it's wrong?
Yeah, I agree. No, you can't use your
Do you agree it's wrong or right?
moral. I can't-
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Base it into. The day I live,
Let's
yes,
say
I
that.
could say to a degree, but
It's wrong.
I can't speak on behalf of others, okay? That's their lifestyle. If
Okay.
they do it, it depends into individual case you're talking about.
Guys, I hope you're not filming me. If I see myself, you're going to be famous.
How long have you been here?
If I see myself,
Glenn?
let me
How long you been here?
let
This
me
was
say
in
the
front of you all
let
this
me say
time?
the legal disclaimer. If I see myself on there, I will sue you. I do not want to be. I do not want to be on.
You can walk away, mate.
Is the speaker
You can walk
corner?
away
I can now. I've realised
It's an open space.
By the way, why are you afraid? Why are you afraid to put that online?
It's a public
It
space.
is scared to be exposed.
You can by all means walk
Yeah.
away right now.
Why-
I'm requesting that he doesn't film me.
No, but
That's
why are you afraid to put that online?
Walk away, walk away.
I'm not afraid.
Look after your friend.
What is the reason for your?
Whatever I do,
For your
why do you
denial?
always twist it into this, that, or the
I'm
other?
asking you because it looks
It's
like you're
not-
somehow
it's
worried
not-
about this.
It's nothing to. I'm not a. It looks that way to you. But
He's
I
scared to
assure
be
you.
exposed, that's it.
Let him answer. Let him answer.
No, I'll say it.
Why are you worried? That's all I'm asking.
I will say everything again, and I will be on film
That's an
interrupted
individual issue.
just as many
It's
times as you
not
interrupted me again.
And you never interrupted. I'm sure.
Well,
Just be quiet.
you're an expert.
It goes both ways, isn't it?
If I'm as bad at interrupting as you are, then I'm sorry.
Okay, and likewise.
But the point is, I'll say this just to underline that I'm not trying to get out of it. Yeah, I am saying that because we can take that a mother and a son having sex is wrong in nature, and I said why for me
Yeah.
as a measure, and it's not specific for father and son. It's not. So I'm not trying to defend that. That doesn't, to me, mean that fathers and sons can do it with impunity and mothers and sons can't. It doesn't mean that. What I would do, because you asked me how I get my morals, what I would do is I would say, well, this is nature showing us that siblings having sex with their parents, not because it's mother and son. It's just nature showing us that siblings having sex with their parents is wrong.
If that is your reason,
Therefore, I'd say no.
Glenn,
Fathers and sons
if that
shouldn't
is
do
your
it.
reason about
Now you might not like that because nature is
Give the principle
because
as long
let me
as they
finish. I
consent.
still haven't finished. You might not like
You are an
that
expert.
because it is
You see how we do.
inspecific. It's unspecific.
No, it's not because
and I
it's
said it
unspecific.
was unspecific. And if that was your problem, I'm not saying it is your problem.
No,
if
it's-
it was your problem,
it's none of
I
that.
would agree with you because I started by saying it's unspecific. But just as it's unspecific, taking human nature of what a mother and a son should or shouldn't do doesn't apply to sons and fathers. It doesn't. Just as it's unspecific, there are very unspecific things in religious morality as well, which is why we see people that call themselves Christian behaving differently in that town to that town, or in the same town, next door neighbours.
same with atheists.
Because
One atheist moral is another same moral.
Humans, whatever
Same
the
thing.
reason
Same
is,
thing applies to you.
Exactly.
Yes. So what you're saying, your principle.
So
the
point
reason.
is,
wait.
I want to answer. I'll give it. Let you.
Yeah,
talk.
go on.
The point is, you said something many moments ago. It wasn't, but I've held this in my mind. I
Yeah,
want to
go on.
respond to this.
Go on.
You said that it's you can't just say. You know, you were saying I was being hypocritical or something. You
I
can't
didn't use
just
the
talk
word
about-
hypocritical, I'm
sure,
sorry.
something like that.
Yeah.
Which is why I finished the sentence off with something like that.
Okay.
Um,
I said you're being
the point
inconsistent
is,
in your
if,
principle.
If it's bad that non-religious people can't use human nature as a guide for morality because it's not specific, which is what I'm understanding you're saying.
Yeah, it's basically subjective.
It allows, but it only subjective within a boundary. It's not a massive subjectivity.
Well, it
right?
depends which culture you look at.
Sure.
For example,
but you see that
for
in
example, there are
religion-
certain
you
cultures.
see that in religion as well.
Yeah. No, not
So if you're
necessarily.
going to say to me it's too subjective,
Yeah.
but at least it's not completely subjective where there are no boundaries or rules that you can take from human nature. There are.
You know,
It's not
there are many
completely
things which are
subjective.
completely subjective and which are not completely subjective. Okay, for example, 100 years ago from today, yes, homosexuality was more or less wrong for everyone, regardless of whether you were religious or non-religious. Do you agree with that?
No.
No? So you think the atheists accepted homosexuality since when? Wait. When do you think they started to
answer your
accept
question?
What are you going to do with them?
homosexuality? When?
Can I answer your
Yeah, go
question?
on.
Afghanistan.
Is-
No, I mean here.
20 years ago, I don't know how long ago you said, 20 years ago it
I
was...
said 100 years ago.
100 years ago, even 20 years ago for sure in the UK, culturally it was unacceptable.
Yeah.
But the quantity of people that existed then that felt sexually attracted to men is the same percentage then as it is today.
How do you know that?
Because we know that we know how many...
How do you know they were not in the closet hiding, saying that we were straight, but they were
No,
actually
they
gay?
were in the closet because culture was pushing them in the closet. What I'm saying is the same amount of people existed and they actually went on, a lot of them, and had kids. And then later on divorced their wives and told their kids, sorry, I was gay all along.
By the way,
that fit in.
you know, that wasn't my
The same-
question.
I know it's not, but
My question was,
I'm getting there.
when did the atheists start to accept homosexuality, or did they always accept them?
Okay,
At what point?
I don't think it's not.
Bro, can you answer if you don't mind?
There is.
With all due respect, is it okay? Is it okay one person speaks?
There is no such thing as atheism.
There is.
No, wait a second.
Really?
Wait a second.
Okay, go on.
There is no such thing as atheism because in order to do that, because it's subjective, in order to do that, you'd have to have a text that says this is what it is. Atheists don't have that.
It's called a dictionary.
Well,
Shall we?
Sure.
Shall we?
But there isn't.
Shall we look it up?
There isn't a doctrine that says that your behaviour. For example, a West Ham fan has to wear this T-shirt or blah 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 to have the attributes of a particular membership of Christianity or atheism. You have to behave like this. The only thing that makes you an atheist is if you just go, "Nah, I don't think there are any gods." That's it. Now, the morality.
Is that
of
wrong or right?
The behaviour.
Is that definition right or wrong?
That's all atheism is.
No, exactly. But do you agree with
There's
that?
nothing about the morality.
Hold on. Do you agree with that definition?
I do agree with that.
Where is it written? Which book is it written? The same book called the dictionary. Am I right?
Sure.
Okay, so go back. It is
But the
written
dictionary-
somewhere. You know what? This is what is called the cultural norm. When a culture accepts a definition of a certain ideology like atheism, you cannot say atheism doesn't exist. It surely does exist. Yes, I agree. One atheist is different from another atheist.
Yeah.
His morals, and this is what I've been telling you all along, that the atheism doesn't have a standard moral on which it can rest its case. But in case of religion, for example, in Christianity,
But neither did Christians when they
hear me out,
started
hear me out. In Christianity, there are different sects. Each sect of Christianity has certain defined rules, which actually makes the members to be accepted or rejected in that particular sect. And the same applies to Islam. The same applies to any other religion, including Buddhism, which doesn't believe in God, but they have certain, certain characteristics, certain rules, which make them Buddhists. Exactly. So what I'm saying, do not say there is no atheists out there. There are atheists out there.
Sure.
And there is something called atheism.
What
Now
I was
wait.
trying to say is
My
there
question,
isn't one specific
my question
thing that
based
you
on
can
the,
say is atheism.
wait Glenn, based on the definition which you just agreed, i.e. atheists do not believe God exists. This category of people, when did they start accepting homosexuals to be accepted as a norm in the society?
Don't know.
Don't know. Could it be more than 100 years ago?
I would have said, given that how I think,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say that my lack of belief in religions has influenced how I think. So I've got to assume that my way of thinking, the Bertrand Russell type of thinking, the way that he deals with logic and the way that he thinks about things is very similar.
By the way, my question wasn't to you personally. I'm talking about atheists as a group. When do you think the atheists, for example,
I know you was talking
there
about.
were 100 years ago, there were atheists in this country. Do you agree? At that time, I'm sure they consider those homosexuals to be put to death or to be ostracized from the society.
I was answering that question.
Yeah, gone.
From the beginning.
I apologize for
I
interrupting.
am
Carry on.
sorry that I
Yeah.
don't give one-word answers or one-sentence answers. I apologize if that's just a fault in my
No,
personal.
all I want is a straight answer. No beating around
I
the bush.
know.
Okay, good.
But that's very. What's the word? Intolerant of you. I would stand there and listen, and someone's got something to. We need to be tolerant to listen. Just because people are different.
I was
some people
listening
are gay,
until you
you're
go to the wrong.
interrupting again. Some people
If you go
are
to
gay,
the wrong
some people
tangent,
aren't.
I
Why don't
interrupt
we
you.
be tolerant of them and let them be what the hell they
No,
want to
I
be?
will let you be if you do not go
You
to
could be
different
tolerant
tangents.
of me that I've got a specific way of speaking which doesn't do things in one word or one sentence.
I don't expect you to answer in one word or sentence.
You do because
I don't want you to go around different tangents when I ask you a specific question.
which is the one-word measure.
No, I ask you a specific question. For example, I ask you about father and son. You keep going to mother and son.
Yeah, I'm
you do
saying-
that all the time. Why?
Because I think-
Why do you beat around the bush when I ask you a specific question?
Because I think you
Okay,
can measure
if
it from
you
that.
see
No, you can't.
Because I think you can measure it not from the sex of the people. You can measure it of the action of sibling, child, offspring, and parent. So when I see a mother and a son having sex and producing crippled kids, which will produce a crippled society, right? Which will lead to our demise.
Not really. Not really. You know, people thought the same thing about homosexuals. Yes, that if they go and basically commit their whatever their sin that they're doing, yes, we'll have HIV. We'll have all these diseases in the world. You know, these were atheists, including at that time, who would think like this. And what happened today? Everyone accepts it.
HIV you can take from the woman is one.
Serious.
You didn't understand the idea I was trying to
I
get
think
at.
that you can take from it parent and offspring. Therefore, it doesn't matter that it's a mother or son or a mother or a father.
But remember I told you about the
What you're
contraception
doing- what
and you
you're
did not address that. I said mother and son with contraception, is that okay? And you still wouldn't budge.
But I will budge. I'll tell
No, you didn't.
I did.
You were consistently saying, what if they have bad offspring? What if they have bad
Even though I
offspring?
responded to you, and even though I'm going to give you the same answer now, you're still interrupting.
You know why? Because you always say, what if they have bad offsprings?
I don't find this conversation enjoyable in any way, shape, or form.
If you are being consistent in your
I'll
answers,
answer your
it would be
question.
very, very clear
I'll answer
to
your
both of
question,
us.
but unfortunately, I might not be able to do it in one word or one sentence.
I didn't expect you to do it in one word or one sentence.
But do not-
All I'm saying is that if the mother and son have contraception, where does the question of siblings come from? Sorry, where does the question of their children come from?
How do you charge if you see the man and father and son having sex? How do you charge them?
I think they're wrong. Immoral.
Okay, it's wrong.
What do you think then?
It's wrong.
What do you think?
But how-
No, what do you think?
How do you charge?
Anyway.
How they affect you?
Don't answer a question.
How do
Are you going to answer my question?
No.
Would you sleep
I'm
with your
asking
mom
first. I'm
or your
asking
dad?
first.
Would you?
I'm asking first.
Can I ask you one question?
Listen, let me.
I don't think you're making sense. Anyway, so going back to you, what I'm saying is this: if I have already told you very clearly that there is no intention for this mother, yes, to have children with her son, yes, then what would be the problem for you?
Let's take, for example, again, like I said, to take it from nature. Let's say, for example, you're saying that you have to do it on the mother, as the female, and the son as a son, because
With contraception.
You're interrupting.
With contraception, very important.
I know, but I'm going to explain why, even with contraception, it's wrong.
Yes, please do. Go on.
Okay.
And why?
But I've
Now I want to interrupt if you're going to answer
just
that.
did. I've tried to do this several times.
No, you always went to a wrong tangent.
No,
Every time I asked you, you said
I-
they will have crippled children. Every time you said that.
I took the tangent that I wasn't going down. I was just making a point, and you didn't like.
Okay,
that
I'm going to
point.
keep quiet. You do not divert from the question I asked you, which is, what if the mother and the son, if they have no intention of procreating, if they're using contraception, and there is no question of crippled children?
Here we are.
Go on.
So,
But there's a hormone thing.
I'm trying to answer specifically what you're getting at, which is how can you not define it to the female as the mother and the son, or even a lesbian mother and daughter?
Yeah.
The mother becomes
That's
a
fine, that's
lesbian.
fine, yeah.
But I'm trying to answer that question.
Go on.
And I don't know if it will mean this to you or not, or you'll be happy with my answer.
Go on,
but
I'm waiting
trying
for
to
your answer. I
answer
want to interrupt you. Go on.
I said to take it from nature. So give an example, right? Let's say, for example, if we knew, you know how birds and bees take nuts, they move nuts around, they move seeds around, they poop seeds out, and they plant new trees, they plant new bushes by flying seeds from over there in their poop to another part of the world. You realise this, right?
Carry on.
Let's say, for example, we knew that putting a particular seed in this particular dirt, right? Which is why bees don't do it. It won't grow. It won't grow into this bush that they want to create their colony in, right? Therefore, it doesn't matter who does it, whether it's a bee doing it, whether a human tries to plant that seed there. We know it's not going to lead to anything. So it's not about the sex or who's doing it. It's the fact that action itself, that seed being put in that mud, will not grow the bush that those bees need to have a beehive. Are you following now?
So carry on.
So it's the action itself. It's not who's doing it, because whether a bee does it, or whether a human does it, or whether a cow does it, it's still not going to work.
What's not going to work? What's not going to work?
It's the wrong thing to do.
You're going back to procreating, isn't it? Isn't it? See, Glenn, this is the problem with you.
have.
Every time I've given you a chance, you always go back to procreating. Why?
Because it
Why do you
always-
do this consistently, and then you say, I'm the one not giving you a chance? Seriously.
It comes back to that.
Hashim.
It doesn't. When you have no intention, wait a minute. When you have no intention of procreating, when you have using contraception, you always, Glenn, go back to procreating. Because you know why? You know why? Because that is the only valid point you have, unfortunately. And because I brought that point, you have no other way to go but procreating. Procreating every time. Why? Why can't you accept the fact that these two people, wait, why can't you accept the, yeah, because homosexuality, he's got a good point. Homosexuality doesn't produce any offspring. It doesn't produce, so what is the point? You agree with that?
Against nature. It's against nature. Homosexuality is
I
against
think
nature.
you're talking about something different.
No, he's talking about the same thing.
You just come out.
He's got a good point, actually. I agree with
I am
it.
not using homosexuality. Yeah, you
Then,
nature now.
you really have to realize that there's something called, every time you have sex is not for procreation. I think most of the time it is for pleasure.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
So it's
Yes?
against nature.
So what is wrong with a mother and son having
By
pleasure?
using
Or
nature.
a father and son having pleasure? What is wrong with that? If the homosexuals are okay for them to have pleasure, or the lesbians for them to have pleasure, yes, why don't you say that is against nature?
Yes.
But the incest is, sorry,
against-
why don't you say that is also against
There's no
nature?
production.
Why do you have a problem with bringing procreation inside of it into the argument?
No, I don't have a problem with that. I'm saying the problem I have is that your principle, it's against your principle. Your principle is that if two consenting adults do not hurt each other, it is moral. These are your words. It is on camera if you don't believe me.
Yes, but if you press the stop button there, but if you look at the whole context of what I'm saying, is that I don't think that it's about the mother and the son. It's about the action of siblings having sex, or the action of the mother and the father, or of the son and the mother having sex. The action itself
It's what? The action is what?
will lead to bad consequences.
Which is?
So it's all about.
Which is?
It's all about. the
Sorry,
bad
which is what?
consequences.
What is that bad consequence?
Procreation.
There you go again. You can't help it, can you, Glenn?
My friend.
You know, and then you say I didn't give you a chance to speak.
No.
You know that is so,
You don't realize
honestly,
what
that is
you're
so disingenuous of you that you do not even realize it.
You don't realize
I'm sorry to say this.
Bees, nature, they don't produce. Even if you put seed, they don't produce nothing, and that is against nature. That is the same standard you have to use when you're using homosexuality. To you now,
now
you
I understand. That's not what I was saying.
what you are saying
If
then?
my words have led you to that,
What you are
that
saying?
understanding, That is not what I'm saying.
No, what he's saying is that homosexuality is
Against
mainly,
nature.
there's
They
mainly
don't
lust
produce.
involved in there.
They don't
There is,
produce.
it is mainly for pleasure, not for procreation.
What I was trying to show is whether a bee.
Okay,
Wait a second.
ask him a different now.
What I was trying to show is whether a bee does it or a human does it,
Yeah.
the doing of that thing that might grow a particular bush that wipes out an entire other nature reserve. That's wrong.
That's wrong.
Whether it's a human doing it or a bee doing it. Therefore,
So it's not nature.
Therefore, it's the action. Therefore, it's not male or female or mother and son. It's the action itself. If the action can create that problem, then that shows that parents. It shows parents having sex is wrong.
Glenn, if I told you the problem is eliminated, what is the problem with, what is the contention then?
It's the action.
So the action is immoral, is that what you're saying?
Love each other.
Using that principle, homosexuality would be moral.
Why?
Because homosexuality, again,
against nature.
there is nothing to procreate.
It's against nature.
It is just pleasure.
يا لغتي عربية حسبي بأنك منطقي وبياني عربية قلبي